What is an API? Simply put, an API is like, if you say this, I'll do this for you. In the upcoming videos, we'll be focusing on the API, getting to know some associated concepts. In this video, we'll explore what an API is and when and where it is used. I'll also link videos explaining other related concepts in the pinned comment. First, let's find out what this thing called API is. API stands for Application Programming Interface. It's a means used when software talks to each other.
So you're saying programs chat with each other and stuff?
Nowadays, most of the services we use on our computers or smartphones consist of a combination of various software. Consider the YouTube platform we're watching right now. The ways people can watch YouTube include via a website, an iOS app, and an Android app. The apps and websites that show YouTube videos on these devices are all software. But are all the YouTube videos in the world are stored in the YouTube app installed on your phone? No, these videos are stored on a computer called a server. Individual devices fetch related data and play the videos from this server. On this computer, there's software installed and running that acts like a waiter, taking orders from other software and serving them. That's why this computer is called a server. When you turn on the YouTube app on your phone, the app sends a request to the software installed on the server to send a list of the latest contents. In response, the server sends back information about the videos. And then, based on that information, the app displays the screen we see when we turn on the YouTube app. Various other tasks such as liking, posting comments, uploading videos, etc. also take place through communication between the software. So, we can watch YouTube because these software are having a good conversation.
Then, where does this API fit in that process?
You can think of an API as a menu given out by a waiter, which is a program serving as a server. This menu is a list of requests that the client, the one sending the request, can send. Play the next video, like a comment, subscribe to a channel, view my account, and so on. We humans and rabbits can converse using natural language. But in order for these software to communicate, they need agreed upon rules. Just like when a customer orders menu number 1, the employee brings a hamburger set. A system like, if you ask for this, I'll do that. If you send me this in this way, I'll process it like this is required. API defines not only how to request from clients, but also how to respond from servers, like what should be included in a hamburger set. Let's take a look at an API provided by a website called Open Weather Map. This service provides a variety of weather information that people can get through the API. You can see a good example of what an API typically looks like here. First, click on the API at the top. Then, on the page that appears, please press this API dock button on the left. Then, like this, you can see the page where the usage of this API is organized. If you scroll down, you can see how to send a request like this. To check the weather at a specific coordinate, it's written that you should send a request with this URL. Simply put, post in your latitude and longitude at this address. What kind of detailed options can be put in there is also clearly stated. This part corresponds to if you said this. Below, it shows how the server responds when the user makes a request as above. This part is equivalent to, then I'll do this. Therefore, when a user sends such a request to Open Weather Map, it retrieves data in this format as a response. You can see that you can get detailed information about Chicago's sunrise, sunset, temperature, pressure, etc. The weather apps we use usually send requests to the server in this way to get weather data. This data is then displayed on an attractive UI, which is the app screen we see. In addition to retrieving specific data like this, an API is also used to create, modify, and delete data. Posting, liking, and deleting comments on SNS also occur as requests from the app to the server, processed via API.
Then, which programming language do I need to learn to use this API?
Since API is about what is sent and what is received, it's not bound by any language or framework. API is a specification, a principle, not an actual programming implementation. It's about how to request and how to respond, not the product that's made that way. You can create software according to what's specified in that API, regardless of the programming language or technology used. If the client is a website, you can send the request in JavaScript. If it's an Android phone, in Java or Kotlin. the server can be created in various languages and frameworks, so any server language such as Python, Java, PHP, Ruby, etc. is possible. No matter what language the customer and the server are using, when the customer points to menu 1, the waiter brings a hamburger. There are various kinds of APIs depending on how they are used. First, there's the API used among the software that makes up certain services, like the example of YouTube. It's commonly the API used when a front end, such as a website or mobile app, interacts with a backend server. These are referred to as internal APIs or private APIs. According to this API, front-end developers write code to send requests, and back-end developers write code to receive and process these requests. It's really important to have a good API for good collaboration between developers. If an app developer writes a code that sends an inappropriate request, or if a server developer sends data different from the API specifications in response, the service won't work properly. Next, like the open weather map we looked at earlier, there are APIs that anyone in the world can use freely or with subscription or payment. These openly available ones are called public APIs. A public API is something that enterprises, public institutions, or individuals have set up so that other developers can use their data and services. You can commonly see apps with Google's Map feature installed, websites that log in through a Facebook account, and services that can be paid with PayPal. This is because companies like Google, Meta, and PayPal have released these functions as public APIs.
So I can directly create a public API and reveal to the world in real time how many carrots I ate and how much I pooped.
Yes, if there are people who want to look that up. API is not just used between entities connected online. Many softwares inside our computer interact and operate through APIs. When we browse the web, we use programs like Chrome, Safari, Edge, Firefox, which are referred to as browsers. These browsers also offer a variety of features for developers as APIs. If you're a front-end developer, you've probably seen or used codes like these. This code manipulates a specific DOM element on a web page. There are also codes that handle tasks related to timing. This one sends an HTTP request to a specific address. These are all use cases of using JavaScript to call upon the features provided by the browser via APIs. It's specified as, if you write JavaScript code like this, I, the browser, will process the web page elements in this way. Another example would be the Windows API. In a Windows operating system environment, you can use the following code in C or C++ to call on various functions provided by Windows. This code is to display a message box. This code is to retrieve and output the current time set in the operating system.
So this is used when making a program that runs on Windows?
That's correct. For non-developers, these explanations may be difficult, so let's discuss it simpler. Among the features that any software or service provides, the basic ones like buttons and tabs that ordinary people can use by clicking or pressing are the GUI. The more advanced features that developers can use by coding, and which are open with a manual, are what we call APIs. Of course, this is an explanation for non-developers. Today, we briefly learned what an API is. In the following videos, we'll take a look at different types of APIs and how to use them to learn more specifically about APIs. I'll see you in the next video.